All right, are we ready to begin?
Thank you, amigo.
Chair Bernard is in Salem working on a bill, and so I am taking over as vice chair, and I'm going to ask that Commissioner Schrader come join us as soon as she can.
So I'm going to ask if you'll please clear the room. We're ready for the next budget meeting. Thank you.
And with that, if we could do a quick round of introductions, I think that would be very helpful.
Jennifer Chambers, Budget Manager.
Laurel Butman, Deputy County Administrator.
Gary Schmidt, County Administrator.
Sonia Fisher, County Commissioner.
Blaine Scalpiti.
Martha Schrader, County Commissioner.
Chris Hartson, Budget Committee Member.
Ken Humberston, County Commissioner.
Fred Charlton, Budget Committee Member.
Paul Savas, Clackamas County Commissioner.
Ed Grunke, Budget Committee Member.
Roxanne Fisher, Budget Coordinator.
Jian Jiang, Budget Coordinator.
Excellent. And with that, our first order of business is to appoint a chair of the committee. So, does anybody have a motion?
I nominate Ed Grunke as Chair of the 2019-2020 Clackamas County Development Agency Budget Committee.
And do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, passes unanimously. Now Ed can take over. If you'd like a gavel, it's sitting there by Chris. You can pass it on down to Ed. And then I believe we have the appointment of a vice chair for this committee as well.
Now I feel
Is your
all
first
right.
order of business?
I will call now for nominations for vice chair.
I'll nominate Chris Hartson as Vice Chair of the Development Agency Budget Committee for 2019-2020 budget.
Second the nomination.
It has been moved and seconded that Chris Hartson be elected vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. We will now go on to nominations for secretary.
I nominate Blaine Scalpiti as Secretary of the Development Agency Budget Committee for 2019-20 budget.
Second?
I'll second the nomination.
It has been moved and seconded that Blaine Scalpiti be elected secretary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, Blaine is elected secretary of the Budget Committee. I'll now ask Dave Queener, Program Supervisor of the Development Agency, to present the 2019-2020 budget.
Good morning. Pleased to be here today to present our proposed budget for this next fiscal year. The Clackamas County Development Agency's mission statement is to provide capital improvements, development opportunities, neighborhood enhancement programs to benefit residents, businesses, and visitors in and around the urban renewal area so they can enjoy an economically and socially vibrant community. We are housed within the Department of Transportation and Development, and we're considered a targeted improvement area. Our responsibilities are to implement 3 urban renewal plans. That includes the Clackamas Town Center area, the Clackamas Industrial area, and the North Clackamas Revitalization area. Our total recommended budget for this fiscal year is $69,340,147. This encompasses 5 funds. Each urban renewal area has its own operating fund, and there are 2 debt service funds, and those are for the Town Center area and the North Clackamas Revitalization area. As you'll see here on the pie chart on the left there, we only receive about 5% of our total budget is in taxes, and that's in the North Clackamas Revitalization area. The remainder of our funds come from existing funds and also from sales of property that the agency currently holds. We have budgeted this year 4 full-time employees. 3 of those positions are filled at this time. Our allocations by district, our Clackamas Town Center district has a budget of $44,129,928. Within that, our capital outlay for the next fiscal year would be $18,836,500. That is primarily for our Clackamas Regional Center Mobility Improvement Project, which will begin construction here in about 6 weeks. The total estimated construction cost for that project is $25.7 million. It'll take about 2 years to get that project completed. The Clackamas Industrial Area, the budget for that is $14,640,301. Within that, we have $7,795,000 allocated to capital projects. Included in that is about $3.75 million that would be a reimbursement to our Transportation Maintenance Department for their contribution to the acquisition of our Clackamas Industrial Area Opportunity Site. I just want to point out that property is now being redeveloped with 3 new developments there. The first one being completed here in May. It's about 300,000 square feet of new industrial space. And within the next 12 months, we'll have about another 300,000 square feet of space completed. And that will provide approximately 700 new jobs for the area, which is great. So I just wanted to point that out. We're happy to see that finally happen. Within the CIA capital improvements, we also have $840,000 allocated for some improvements to Caps Road. And then we have $3 million budgeted for property acquisition. This would be on a willing buyer, willing seller basis in the event some properties might come available. Primarily looking at the Sunrise Phase 2. If there's some properties in that area that become available, we'd like the opportunity to acquire those properties. So within the North Clackamas Revitalization Area, the total budget amount of $10,569,918. As I pointed out before, this is the only district that does currently get tax increment. We're estimating about $3.2 million of tax increment this coming year. And within our expenditures for the year, we have $420,000 budgeted for homeowner assistance programs. This includes rehabilitation loans, sewer assessment programs and grants to help folks get connected out in this, to the new sewer systems out in that area. It also includes about $3.9 million for capital projects, including some new roadways. We're really ramping up in this area. 3 new projects, road projects. This includes some new roads in the Fuller Road Station area that we'll be starting design on, and also design for the new improvements to Linwood and Monroe out in that area. And our desire is to get these designs completed and ready for construction in the 2021 fiscal year. Our performance measures, we are quickly running out of property that we hold out in this area available for redevelopment. We are forecasting executing one disposition agreement out there and hopefully getting about another 50,000 square feet of mixed use out in that area. And then just pointing out here that with our CRC project, we're going to be fixing 143 ADA sidewalk issues out in the area as part of that project. And I know it's a huge issue for us as a whole for the county, and we're making a big dent in that with that project. For the Clackamas Industrial Area, again, we don't have a lot of property available out there, but we do have a goal of getting another property sold in the next year and getting some more use on those properties, about 25,000 square feet of commercial use out in that area. With the North Clackamas Revitalization Area, our performance measures that we track are housing rehabilitation loans. We have a budget of $300,000 for this project or for this program, and it's been quite successful. We have about 15 to 20 of those participants in that each year, which is great, and that is to help folks rehabilitate their homes with some safety improvements, things that are deficient, be it a roof, windows, and those types of things. It's really to make those homes much more livable for the citizens. As a whole, for the development agency, we always have a goal of allocating and expending a minimum of 85% towards capital-related projects. This year, with our budget, for budgeted expenditures, we're at about 93% of our allocated funds are going towards capital improvement projects. Emerging issues. The town center, we do have limited funds remaining. We are quickly spending those on our important projects. Following our completion of the Clackamas Regional Center project, we won't have a lot of funds remaining for other remaining work out there. The Clackamas Industrial Area, again, we're going to be looking at acquiring property for the phase 2 of the Sunrise Corridor when they become available. And the North Clackamas revitalization area, we will be looking to issue a bond in the next year. And this is to be able to ramp up construction of those previously mentioned projects out in that area. So with that, I'd like to thank our citizen committee members for participating today and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Dave, appreciate all the good work you're doing in the district. And I'm glad to hear that we're about ready to move on that intersection there on 82nd,
Yes.
Sunnyside and
Harmony, yes.
Yeah. On page 5 of the NCRA budget portion of the packet, there's a line item there, 30317 Hawthorne Park,
Uh-huh.
for $7,500 for internal engineering. Small amount of money. I usually don't raise any issues with 3 or 4 or 5 digit numbers because our budgets are so big.
Sure.
But I'm just curious about that one only because, I was there when we cut the ribbon on that park and it was complete. So what's going on at Hawthorne
So
Park?
we have budgeted funds it's actually for a ped crossing there.
Oh, okay.
So there's a need for
Across
a better,
King?
yes.
Okay.
So it's a ped crossing at King. We call it Hawthorne Park because it's directly associated with that project right at that park location. So that's what that is for.
Okay. So that'll be handicapped.
Yes.
For not but for disabled and
Yeah, it'll be
all those
ADA.
accesses. Will be a flashing.
It'll be a flashing, ped signal.
All right. And what funds pay for that? Is that all going to be or is that being shared by road department? How's that being?
That's all urban renewal funds for that project.
All urban renewal?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. What's the total cost for that project?
It's about 75,000, roughly, yeah.
Great, thank you.
You bet.
Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I just, again, just a few comments, and it's making me feel very long in the tooth, but on the front, colleagues, that photo is government camp, and I remember driving up to government camp with Barb Cartmill. That was an urban renewal district, so all the beautiful improvements you see up there were actually part of our urban renewal program years ago, and the big argument was whether or not they had heated sidewalks and whether or not there were curbs. And there are no curbs and there are heated sidewalks. But again, the power of urban renewal can be a beautiful thing. A couple of comments. I just wanted to mention that the North Clackamas revitalization area, to me, is a real example of how we redevelop communities without gentrification. So I would encourage us to look at that model. I like the idea of floating a bond. I think that we did a very fine job there, but the intention when we were moving forward was not to gentrify. So there was a real intentional policy statement made that those dollars were going to be revitalize a community, get them hooked up to sewer, get homes revamped, everything good that happens, and the roads fixed without displacement. So I think that's a good model. And then I really want to commend you on continuing to use urban renewal dollars for phase 2 of the Sunrise. That is how we got phase 1 of the Sunrise. It was urban renewal dollars with the intent that we would always keep our eye out for what was available for a footprint for that major transportation corridor. And for me, it's been a success and will continue to be a success. And one of the reasons why urban renewal, even though it can be controversial, actually does do good things for communities and helps us move forward with the money for the construction needs we have. So that's the end of my comments. Good job. It's
Great.
appreciate
you.
all you do for the community.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions from the commission? If not, we will open a public hearing to take testimony from the public. Anyone wishing to testify should begin by giving us their name, address for the record. Is there any public testimony? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. I'll open the hearing now for any comment or questions from the committee members.
I do have one comment. I'd like to invite Deidre Landon from the Department of Transportation and Development to come up and read into the record an amendment we need to make for the motion. This is the second aspect of an amendment that we had to provide to DTD's budget, and she'll describe the rationale for that.
Thank you, Budget Committee members. I appreciate you letting me intercede today. I know this was unexpected. So again, my name is Deidre Landon. I'm the Administrative Services Manager for the Department of Transportation and Development.
Can you speak up, please?
Sure.
Thank
I'll pull this closer as well. So today, we're making a request to amend the Clackamas Town Center Urban Renewal Budget. We programmed a $1.5 million interfund transfer from our countywide Transportation System Development Charge Fund to come into the Clackamas Town Center. This actually should have been reflected as a local revenue from an outside agency and not an interfund transfer because the district is considered an outside agency. So that was an error on our part when we were programming the budget into the budgeting software. We did identify the I-205 Sunnyside Overpass project as an eligible project for system development charges. And so that's why we programmed this level of support to come into the district to help offset some of those costs and provide support to that project. The $1.5 million in that interfund transfer category, that's not all of the interfund transfers, that was just one of them, so we're gonna amend that. And the $1.5 million is actually a pretty small percentage of the total project cost. I'm sure Dave knows what the total project cost is. So if we could just put that in the record and make sure that we adopt that amendment, that would be fantastic.
Mr. Queener, do you have any comment on that?
I don't. It's a matter, I mean, those funds will still come in. It's just coming through in a different line if I.
Under the rules, would we have to have a motion to adopt this as an amendment to the budget before the final budget is adopted?
I believe so. I believe a statement needs to be made that you accept this
If so, then I
amendment.
would appreciate a motion for adoption.
Do you have suggested language for an amended motion?
I
please?
do. As the motion is already drafted, I move that the committee approve the 2019-20 budget for the Clackamas County Development Agency as presented, including an amendment to reflect that $1.5 million of the interfund transfer revenue category in the Clackamas Town Center budget be recategorized as revenue from another local agency, and so on.
So moved.
There we go.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I think we'll now have a motion on the adoption of the 2019-2020 budget as amended.
I move that the committee approve the 2019-2020 budget for the Clackamas County Development Agency as amended, inclusive of the Clackamas Town Center, Clackamas Industrial Area, and North Clackamas Revitalization Area.
Is
I'll
there a
second. I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been moved and seconded the budget is amended, be approved. Is there any other business to come before this committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned.